Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews, or BrickWall Horror, as we call it for the month of October. I'm Dave, and tonight I'm here to talk to you about a movie called Totally Killer. That's right, Totally Killer. It is an Amazon Prime original movie. And before I get into it any farther, it's also a slasher and also has a neat little twist to it. Now I'll get to that in a second. Before I do, I want to remind you guys, go ahead, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and that's it. If you have been following us on Instagram, you'll see some mini reviews for this month. So make sure you check those out. And Vice Brick Wall podcast. Make sure you check that out on Twitch as well. So that's all the announcements out the way. Let me go ahead and jump into this film. So, Totally Killer. I know I'm being a little calm right now, right? That's because this movie is very interesting to me. So, all right. So let me cut the shit. No, I'm recording this at a very late hour of the night because I've owed y'all this review for so long. So when y'all watch this, leave a like down below, comment, thank you, Dave. Now, just a like is perfectly fine. If you want to go the extra mile, subscribe to the channel, right? Give me a subscription. Go ahead, hit your boy, because who else is going to wake up this early in the morning to do a review that they know they've owed you for like 3 days now? So anyway, that aside, boy, I wish my internet was not acting up right now. That aside, though, so this movie, Totally Killer, it's about a girl who is trying to stop what is known as the Sweet 16 killer, right? So this Sweet 16 killer, he's like, he killed her mom's friends years ago, like way back in the 80s or something, right? And so what happens is she has a friend who has a time machine, but that time machine part only comes into play because the Sweet 16 killer has returned and ends up murdering this girl's mom. So what she decides to do is that her friend who's making the time machine is like, well, I just thought you could pay me to go back in time to stop the killer. So one day she's out, you know what I'm saying? She's out and about just trying to calm down, decompress with her friend and everything. And then boom, the killer runs up on them, tries to kill her. So while the killer's trying to kill her, she runs to the time machine. Her and the killer just end up activating the time machine, and they end up going back in time to the 80s. And so now this girl's on a desperate quest to not only save the other victims of the Sweet 16 killer, but unmask who this killer is so that she can save the lives of many innocent people and herself, as well as find a way to get back to her time by utilizing the time machine technology that was originated by her friend's mom back in the 80s. And she has a limited time because her phone is the time machine only works on Wi-Fi, and her phone is really like the only thing that can get Wi-Fi. And so you have to figure out how to get a Wi-Fi signal and figure out all this stuff, right? So I know I pretty much told y'all a lot about this movie, and that's cool because usually like I'll read a synopsis or something. But the reason I told y'all so much about this movie is because that's just scratching the surface, right? The surface has been scratched because this movie, I was a little bit dramatic what I said there, but this movie, it deals with time travel in a very interesting way. I was telling somebody this earlier, right? So the time travel aspect of this movie, this is how they make it make sense, right? And it's interesting because this is like, I'll get into the slasher stuff in a little bit, but I want to get this time travel stuff off my brain because I'm not gonna talk about anything else but time travel until I say this. So how they explain the time travel is that time is like a stream. When you come out of the stream, you go back into it, and things are just different around you. So like you step out, you jump out of the water, you jump back in, there's different shit in the water, right? Like it's different fish in the water. Like the fish change, but it's all like it's never been changed before, right? So with that said, they kind of set themselves up in this movie to be able to do a lot more interesting things. One of which they say that if the girl's parents die, then that won't really affect her. Like, as in, like, you know, it's not like she won't be born. She'll still exist in her proper time. It's just that she will practically be like Peter Parker ended up at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. Like nobody will know her. She won't have any connections to anybody. She'll be all alone. So with that said, it kind of opens up this interesting door to be able, and not that they do or don't, but it opens up the capabilities for them to kind of play around with the time travel aspect, and not the time travel aspect, the fact that they could kill their parents. So it kind of puts it at a anyone can die type of thing, right? Because once they say, "Oh no," like you know, like I said, no, your parents can die. You'll still exist. You just won't have anybody. So it's like, damn. So it kind of raises the stakes there, and I like that because, like, after that reveal, and I'm kind of watching some of the slasher stuff going on, I'm like, yo, her parents can really die, like, and it's they they play around with that a lot, and I like that one aspect of it. So time travel stuff aside, and it does get confusing. I'll double back around to that. Y'all want to know this is a slasher, right? So it's kind of, of course they're trying to figure out who the slasher is because the Sweet 16 killer he wears like this weird mask, right? And so trying to figure out who the killer is in this movie is very interesting because the reveal, there's two different kinds of reveals in this movie. In the first one, you're not going to see it coming at all. Like, I did not, like, there's no way. If you say you saw this twist coming, you're a liar. You're a dirty, dirty liar because there's absolutely no way you guess what the first twist is. There's no way you guess that. No, because that's impossible. It's literally impossible to guess the first twist of the killer. Completely impossible. Impossible. If you guessed it, you're a cheater, you're a liar, and you need to go. You sick son of a bitch. No, I'm just kidding. All right, got a little carried away. But outside of that, though, outside of the, I like the reveal stuff and everything, but the slasher aspect of it, oh, that shit was wild. So, like, this Sweet 16 killer, he stabs his victim 16 times, and they show him going, and he's just it's so wild. Like, it's not as crazy as the Scream kills, but it's kind of wild. So like this is like the killer, Sweet 16 killer. It's a lot of intrigue around who it could possibly be, and when that reveal is, because there's, like I said, when that comes within the second twist. So the second twist behind it makes sense, but it also is kind of fucking stupid. You'll see the second twist coming before you see the first twist coming, but that second twist is kind of annoying when you kind of think about the implications through time travel. So it's really hard to watch this movie and not think about, okay, well, wouldn't that kind of change this? And wouldn't that be like this? And wouldn't that be like that? Especially if you watch a lot of time travel movies like I do myself. But again, if you take all those things away from it and you look at it just as a basic slasher film, it's actually pretty good. The kills are solid. The suspense is solid. It's just the one thing that annoyed me about this movie is like, okay, so the girl, she's not like from 2023 or 2022 or anything. I think her time period is like 2019, so she's a couple years back. I think they said I think they say that the year, their present day is 2019. I know it's not 2023 or 22. It's definitely 2019. I do recall them saying that. If I'm wrong, but I recall them saying that. With that said, so they do they don't spend too much time on a lot of explanations, so to speak, with the time travel stuff. They kind of just like, because it's more of a horror comedy. So it's like a lot of more lighthearted things, but with her being her modern day isms, like you gotta be, you can't say certain things about certain people, or this is problematic, doing that is problematic. Like, they do a lot of that, and I don't know. It's just, I'm kind of slowly joining the crowd, kind of a little tangent here, but I'm kind of joining the crowd where it's just like, okay, all the reminders of our modern day sociological yes and no's, our do's and don'ts, is kind of annoying, getting a constant reminder of that. But that's all. I don't want to get into that right now, actually. But I mean, it doesn't like do anything to really hinder the film, but it's just like, okay, we get it. You're from a time where you can point at something and say that's problematic, but at the time it was completely crazy. And how do we let this go down? So, but you know. But outside of that, it's very because the way the girl manages trying to uh pretty much warn people about the killings that she already knows is going to happen is that she says that she claims that she's a psychic. She says, "Oh, I'm a psychic. I had these visions with this psychic rock that I have. So, I just see all these killings happen." But so the real crazy thing about this movie is every time she tries to stop a killing or whatever the case may be, what ends up happening is that the killings end up happening out of order because see, like they happen in a certain order, in a certain way, in certain locations. But when she does something to prevent one of them or change it, then either the order switches or the location switches, and things around it change. And that makes it interesting. And it gets to a point where obviously it becomes, well, shit, I don't know what to do because I tried to save this person, but instead this person died. Or I tried to stop this thing here and it happened in a whole another location. So it does raise that bar of how urgent this situation has become because yes, it's easy for her to just go back in time and stop the killer and warn people and blah 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 blah. But on top of people not listening or not taking it serious, now every time I do something, something changes, and I'm really fucking this up. So it's very it's very interesting on that front. But overall as a movie, it's short, which I can appreciate. It's like an hour and 30 something minutes long, and I mentioned that because the pacing in this is not bad. It moves. This movie moves along. It knows what it's trying to do. It knows what it's trying to achieve, and it pushes the bar along. It doesn't spend too much time trying to over explain anything or trying to overdo anything. It's like, okay, we're here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. This movie, I know I mentioned earlier, this movie is on Prime, so it's a Prime original. It's also a collaboration with MGM Studios and check this, Blumhouse Studios. You know the horror movie people that make all those horror movies. I can't think of a Blumhouse film right now. It's just crazy wild. But but yeah, so it's with the Blumhouse people. Who they do really good horror films. I've seen some of the Blumhouse stuff. They do some pretty good horror stuff. Blumhouse and A23 do some really good horror stuff. But yeah, so like I don't know, like this movie, like I said, it's good. I did enjoy it. It has a little bit of everything in there. It has the well, in terms of the three things it could have in here, which is horror, comedy, and time travel. You get your and slashes, so I guess 4. So you get your good share of each one. In terms of the killer, what I think, I wouldn't say he was an iconic killer, so to speak. I don't think he'll be like an icon of anything anytime soon. Like I don't think anybody will. Even if this was a wide release in like a movie theater, I don't think he would be a memorable figure. That said, he's OP as fuck. And then when you find out who the one version of the killer is, because there's obviously 2 versions. There's the version that's in the 80s that started, and then there's the version that somehow popped back up in the future. And when you get the reveal for the second version of killer, you're gonna be like, well, there's no fucking way in hell, you, sir, were that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. But hey, stranger things have happened, I guess. But there's no way in hell. In my opinion, there's no way in hell. But y'all let me know in the comments when y'all watch this what y'all think. But yeah, overall though, it was a pretty solid film. I will give it that. It was solid. I had a good time watching it. It was a fun watch. It wasn't boring. There were, I can't think of an oh shit moment that I had. I think it came with with one of the reveals. But other than that, I don't think I had like a real oh shit moment in terms of like the kills. I might have, but if I can't remember, it probably wasn't as memorable as the Scream kill, which still lives in my head rent free every day. I mean, maybe just the fact that he that he stabbed his victim 16 fucking times was like enough. Because that's a lot of times. Yeah, it's good though. It's really good. Let me see. I didn't do anything to pay respect to the actors in this movie. So let me do that right now. And then I'll give y'all my rating of this movie. So this movie stars Kiernan Shipka as Jamie. I haven't seen her in anything before. I haven't seen her in anything before, honestly. She played Sabrina in the Netflix Sabrina series, which I did not watch, which is why I don't recognize who that is. But yeah, that's her most notable role, it appears. As to have no, did she play Sabrina? No, she played. No, yeah, she did play Sabrina. Okay, she played Sabrina in the Netflix version of Sabrina. So okay, cool. I didn't watch that, so it's my first time really seeing her in something. I knew she looked familiar. Olivia Holt is in this movie. Leanna Liberato, Julie Bowen, Lachlan Monroe rather. Troy Lee Ann Johnson. It's got a dash. If I said like that, and it's also Randall Park is also in this movie as well. Yeah. So the cast, like I said, it's like a low key cast, so to speak, like lesser known faces, but that doesn't really change anything. This is a good movie. It's a solid film. Do I think that if this was released in theaters, it would have done good? I think it would have done decent. I think the reception would have been pretty decent. In fact, the reception of it now, the reception of it now isn't bad. It has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. I think those scores would have held in theaters. Because it is a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It's a fun watch. Like I said, it doesn't go to try to over-explain itself or overdo anything. It's a short, sweet, simple. It's to the point. It's an hour and 46 minutes, and they get to the point every minute. I like that. I don't feel the hour 40. I feel the hour 46 minutes as dang, this movie's moving. It's moving, and it makes sense how it's moving. But yeah, it's good though. Like I said, the only thing that kind of drags it down a bit for me is like the ending with the time travel shenanigans and how that affects everything. If you're someone who watches a lot of time travel movies, you'll be like, wow, that shouldn't make as much sense. Like it makes sense, but there's also like she should be a paradox by the end of this movie. And the universe, her universe is gonna rip apart at some point. Yeah, there's some massive paradoxical things going on there. So I don't know though, but maybe it's not. Maybe I think about it a certain way. I don't know, but outside of that though, me personally, I give this movie, I give it a 4. I give it a 4.8 out of 5 stars. The ending, like I said, dragged it down a couple of points for me, but I did enjoy this movie. I had fun with it. I thought it was really great. When I see a sequel of it, I hope they don't. There's no need to do a Totally Killer 2, although you could, but you don't need to. You shouldn't. But yeah, this was fun. I like this. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, so definitely check it out. Totally Killer is now streaming on Amazon Prime Video. If you have that, for the free. I mean, it's not really free. You're still paying for it, but it's on Amazon Prime Video if you want to check it out. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. So if you enjoyed this review, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Follow us on social media. All links are in the description below, aren't they? Yes, they are. So definitely, I had to check. But go ahead and follow us on social media. And stay tuned for the rest of BrickWall Horror. And until next time, be easy, stay breezy. Peace.